Dr. Turner Leona, Filis get through this, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our college program, how we follow these students through the program, okay?
Right.
You on? Go ahead.
All right, thank you.
All right.
So a lot of what Safe Diversity does is work with families with children with special needs and bring awareness to families about their rights with education and other aspects of raising children with special needs. And this is August, and for a lot of our families, this is the month where their kids go back to school.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so a lot of parents may, with their younger kids, wonder if their child has a learning disability, maybe. And there is a federal mandate out there called Child Fine, where the school districts do have a duty to try to go out in the community and find children out in their districts that may require special education services.
Right.
So if you think your child may have a learning disability, you can seek out help as early as even 3 years old. And they can join a program and start receiving services, maybe have a diagnostician help them out and analyze and see what services may be necessary to help meet any challenges your child may have.
Right.
So, and then there's a lot of our children that we still see all the way through high school, like Miss no. Oh, no, now that I'm thinking of it, I'm not going to say it right.
What?
Ayaya? No. Miss Ayaya?
Miss Yae.
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 Yes. Oh, my goodness.
Yae at Wheatley High School.
At Wheatley High School. So,
yeah, she's amazing.
yes, she is. And she's going to get me for not pronouncing her name right. But she's wonderful. And
Yes.
so with a lot of our kids that are already in school, parents, if your child is receiving special education services and you have some concerns that maybe the IEP, which is the Individualized Education Plan, is not really benefiting your child right now, you can call what's called an ARD meeting at any time. You don't have to wait for the annual meeting.
Right.
So
Right.
if you have concerns,
Right.
don't wait around till you get a notice. You be your child's advocate
Right.
and teach your child how to self-advocate.
Yes.
So that is one of the benefits of being involved with Safe Diversity communities, because we have a whole group of people that are cheerleading. They're
But it's
cheerleaders for you and for
Yes.
your children, and they're
Yes.
going to help you with advocacy and teaching your children to self-advocate.
Okay. Dr. Phillips, can you tell them a little bit about if their kids come home and some of them hide and ask them what they need to do if their kids are being bullied at school? Can you tell them a little bit about that if they're being bullied at school?
Definitely.
Because that's detrimental.
Right. So
Yes.
thankfully at Safe Diversity Communities, we have a little offshoot part of the nonprofit called J&J Autism Voices.
Right.
And one of the big themes for the services that the service goals that J&J Autism Voices has is trying to talk about bullying and what children who have been bullied at school, what kind of things work for them? What do they do? What can they do to maybe prevent this bullying at school? Every school pretty much has their policies and procedures online.
Right.
And every school pretty much right now has some type of anti-bullying
Right.
protocol. And
Right.
you are supposed to report it when you see somebody bullying someone. And if you are the recipient of bullying, you are supposed to report it.
Right.
Right.
So there are ways that you can get this issue addressed through the school. But there's also, even if you get it addressed, let's say they move the bully to the other side of the room, you can request something like that.
Right.
Or change the classes. But that's kind of a problem for kids on the
Yes.
spectrum because you're changing their routine.
Right.
And when you change their routine,
don't like
you're
that.
disrupting some other part of their
Right.
life.
Right.
So
right.
it's something that you should, when you as a parent find out that your child is being bullied, you want to talk about this bullying with the whole ARD or IEP team.
Right.
And find out what's the best way to not have the education interfered with for your child? What's the best way to approach this situation? Do you let the kids work it out on their own? Or is it at this point where you do have an adult step in and make a difference? Do you have a paraprofessional maybe shadow them in the classroom where that bully is, or check in more often? Or do you, like I said, make them move seats or change the whole classroom altogether? So there are options, but then also talk to your support group. So it is harder for, let's say, kids on the spectrum to have a support group because they don't really know. Typically, a lot of kids on the spectrum don't have the social skills to build up a big friend group. So with J&J Autism Voices, we have something like a Discord channel where we try to have the kids regularly meet up, maybe under the guise of meeting to play video games, but they can also chat and they can talk. And if they want to talk to each other and talk about their strategies on what they do to get over this type of behavior that they've received, bad behavior that they've received from another student, then if that works for them, that's fine. Because what worked for us when we were in school being bullied is not possibly going to work for these kids and their situation at this time. So there's a lot of opportunities out there through social groups, through J&J Autism Voices, through embracing diversity, and it's just don't just ignore it.
Don't ignore it. If you see something, say something.
So we focus on helping families with children with special needs. One of the things that we do is we talk to parents about different rights that they have to have benefits, such as getting kids on the interest list for Medicaid waiver programs. As soon as you have a child that you get a diagnosis for, go ahead and call either HHS with the state or your local Intellectual and Disability Authority. For example, in Harris County, it's called the Harris Center. You'll actually call both numbers eventually to get your child on interest list for about half a dozen programs. And I suggest that you do it as soon as you get the diagnosis, because unfortunately the wait can be several years. Some of the and this is for free assistance and services for your child for the rest of their lives. But you have to wait several years. One of the best programs for children on the spectrum is called CLASS, Community Living Assistance Support and Services, and that is, I think, on average, a 15-year wait.
15-year wait.
But
see, people don't know that. That's why I was wanting to tell them.
And so, maybe by the time your child is graduating from high school or transitioning into adulthood when they're 18, and depending on their circumstances and their level of incapacity, you as parents may need to get legal guardianship over your adult disabled child. Filis Law Firm can help you with that. We can also help you keep your child's eligibility for government benefits by getting a special needs trust drafted so that your child doesn't have assets in their name over $2,000. So they won't inherit something accidentally that would bump them into an asset bracket, which would cause them to lose benefits. So we help with special needs trust and educating families, and we give free 30-minute consultations. We give free group presentations to a lot of parent groups. So whatever we can do to help, workshops, seminars, webinars, whatever can work. We also have a newsletter, and then we also try to promote just like giving people information. For example, I have a template on my website about a letter to request putting a camera in your child's classroom if your child is in a special education classroom where
Right.
it's self-contained.
Right.
So maybe they have, they're more severe with their diagnosis.
Right.
And so they're in the same classroom with their special education teacher and maybe a couple of paras.
Right.
And in that classroom, they're there all day.
Right.
They have their own bathroom. They may
Right.
have their lunch there and whatnot. So if it's a self-contained classroom,
Right.
then you as a parent of that child, that student can
Right.
request that there is a camera in the classroom.
Right.
Because maybe your child is nonverbal.
Right.
And your
Right.
child comes home with
Right.
maybe a bruise and they can't explain to you
Right.
what happened.
Right.
And so you understand kids are kids and maybe
Right.
they may get a bruise or two, but
Right.
after this keeps happening or
Right,
after your
right.
child doesn't want to get out of the car when you're dropping them off to
Right.
school,
So-
you want to know what's going
what's
on.
going on.
Exactly.
And a video can help you
Right.
and help the school assess what's going on.
Right.
But this is the thing, you have to request this camera every year.
Right.
So
See, that's the
don't-
thing about it.
Yep.
Parents don't know that. So tell them that again, Dr. Turner Phillips, that they need to what?
Request in writing that you have
Every
cameras
year.
in the classroom every year, beginning of the year. So we just started school, so make sure you get your letter. And even if they say, oh, we already have the camera, go ahead and put your request in also, just to make sure that that is on file.
Right.
And that you have access to knowing what's going on with your child just in
Right.
case something happens.
Good information. Good information.
Very-
And what's your website again?
What's that?
So it's philislaw.com. It's FILISLAW.com. And we have the long version. It's
Give 'em your number.
HoustonSpecialNeedsAttorneys.com. And then our phone number is 713-462-1777. And then again, we give free 30-minute consultations just in case you have a question. And we can handle these consultations over the phone or by
Right.
Zoom. You don't have to leave
Right.
home to talk to us.
Wonderful. That's great information.